Okay, this video is about the line of best fit quiz review. I will only go over the even problems. There will be a key with all the answers to them, but I will only actually explain the even ones. Hopefully you get a chance to actually think them through and answer them all before you watch this video though. Anyway, let's pick up with number 2. Number 2 says, which scatter plot, which scatter design or diagram shows the strongest positive correlation? So to be a positive correlation, it needs to be going upwards as you go to the right. It needs to rise as I go to the right. So that narrows it down to be either this one or this one. Those are only two that actually rise as I go to the right. This falls as I go to the right. So it's a negative correlation. And this one has no correlation. So the only one, the strongest positive one, will have the dots closer together in a line. The closer it is to a straight line, as in the tighter these dots are together, the stronger the correlation. This is clearly the right answer. So the correct answer is actually B. Let's go to number 2. Number 4. Number 4 says, if the scatter plot below shows the profit by month for a new company for the first year of operation, Kate drew a line of best fit and calculated that its equation is this. It says, using this line, what is the best estimate for the profit at the 18th month? Technically, we can actually answer this without using that equation. One way we can do it, we could plug an 18 into that equation. You get an answer. And if they gave me an equation, I would probably use the equation because the answer might be better. So by giving me that, I'll plug that in just to make sure it's right. So that answer would be Alright, so you plug in calculator 2.5 times 18, take away 2.5. Should be 42.5, and that's in thousands. So about 42.5 thousand. So, or 42,500. So that's the right answer. But truthfully, if they gave you this, you can eyeball it and get a pretty good estimate if they gave you that line. So if you notice, at 18 months, that's slightly halfway between 40 and 45. So that's 42.5. That's a really accurate answer. So you could estimate that without using the equation, because you won't always get an equation. Sometimes they don't. They just give you the picture. You're gonna see that in this review package. All right, let's go to the next problem. Number 6 says the scatter plot was constructed on the graph below. What is the equation for the line of best fit? So I want to write equation for the line of best fit. You need 2 points on that line, and these are 2 perfectly good points to choose. So that coordinate is at 130, and the other coordinate is at 235. I'm going to tell you 2 ways. I'm going to tell you algebraically. Then I'm going to tell you how to find the equation for that line just by interpreting the slope and y-intercept of that line. Let's first review algebraically, because sometimes you won't easily see the slope and y-intercept. So using those 2 points, you first want to find the slope. As you remember, the slope is y2, take away y1 over x2, take away x1. So the change in y over the change in x. So it gives you 35, take away 30, over 2, take away 1. And that's 5 over 1. So that slope looks to be 5. 5 over 1 is 5. And from there you want to find the equation for the line using y take away y1 equals to m times x take away x1. So you need any point. This is a perfect good point to use for x1 and y1. So it should be y take away 30 equals my slope. So m is my slope, so it's 5. And then x take away x1, which is 1. So it gives you y take away 30 equals to, after you distribute 5 in the parentheses, you get 5x take away 5. And our final step would be to add 30 to both sides. And y will be 5x plus negative 5 plus 30. Don't know, I'll go to calculator. So negative 5 plus 30 should be plus 25. Alright, so that should be the equation for it. 5x plus 25 is the answer choice D. Now looking at this, if I looked at the line, you might think, well, my slope is 1. I go over 1, up 1. And it's very easy to think the slope is 1. But you have to take in mind this is counting by 5s. So even though I went over 1, but this is counting by 1s, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so forth. Even though I went over 1, I actually rose up 5. So it gets tricky if you try to interpret the graph. You do have to be careful to make sure you're counting it in the right unit of measure. So my slope should be 5 over 1. Because it's rise over run. Rise over run. So slope should be 5 over 1. And your y-intercept is 25. So that equation should be y equals mx plus b. So that equation should be y equals 5x plus 25. But you know what? If you wasn't careful, and if you didn't recognize that slope was not over 1 up 1, you would have chose this answer, and that would be the wrong answer. You probably would have saw, oh, my y-intercept is 25, and my slope is 1, because look, it goes over 1 up 1. And you would have circled that answer, which was a distractor. So, truth be told, it might be best to actually use the formula and do it algebraically first. And they have this as a way of checking yourself. But just by interpreting the graph, you can't make mistakes, where you're less likely to make those mistakes in the formula. All right, going on. That's number 6. Number 8 is the next even problem. Number 8 says there's a negative correlation between the numbers of hours a student watches television and his or her social studies test score. Which scatter plot below displays this correlation? So you got to think about the number of hours and the test score. They gave us a clue. They said there's supposed to be a negative correlation. So that means it should be going downwards as I go to the right. So if that's true, as I go to the right, this graph does not go downwards. So it's not correct. And the second one, as I go to the right, that's a pretty strong positive correlation and not a negative correlation. Pretty moderate positive correlation. So it couldn't be that one. And the next one, this is clearly no correlation whatsoever. So it's not here. But in the last one, as a person increases the hours of television time, you see the test score is dropping from something in the A range to something in the F range. So, yeah, this is definitely the correct answer for it. Skip ahead to number 10. Number 10 says, use the scatter plot to answer each question. Kenneth created a scatter plot comparing the number of calories he consumed each week with his body weight. Which of the 3 scatter plots above most likely represents the data? So I made calories my independent variable and weight my dependent variable, because your weight does depend on how much calories you eat, not vice versa. So this would be my y-axis and that would be my x-axis. This shows that as I eat more calories, my weight is dropping. So that it doesn't really make sense to eat more calories, like you eat more and more cheesecake and donuts, but you're losing weight. So this is definitely not true. So this is my calories and this is my weight. This shows that as I eat more calories, my weight has increased, but it's a pretty weak correlation. Like here's somebody eating few calories but gaining weight, and here's somebody also eating few calories but losing weight. And even though it is a positive correlation, it's a very weak. I would expect it to have a stronger correlation than that. So that's not the best answer. Here shows a pretty moderate correlation. Like as your calories increase, your weight is definitely increasing. It's not a perfect correlation, but it's pretty strong. It's probably like 0.78, maybe 0.79 or so forth. It's a pretty strong correlation. So the best answer would be C. Answer is 3. We're going to get number 12. Number 12 says the line of best fit on a scatter plot. A shows correlation more clearly. And B says it makes it easy to determine a positive or negative correlation. That's definitely true. Allows you to predict output. That's definitely true. D says cannot be drawn for the data showing no correlation. And this is true. You cannot draw a line of best fit if you have no correlation. The next one says fits all descriptions above. So we knew all these were true. Let's reread this one. Shows the correlation more clearly. Well, yeah, that's pretty true as well. So the best answer for that is E, all of the above. Skip ahead to number 14, which is my last one. Number 14 says Daniel was processing a large document on a computer. The scatter plot shows how many pages he produced each hour. Using this information, what is the best prediction for the number of pages Daniel can produce in 10 hours? Okay, so here's 10 hours. Considering how this data is moving, it's probably going to be somewhere in this area. So somewhere between 25 and 30. I don't think it'll be much higher than 30. So somewhere in that range. So this looks to be the best answer. 30. It's probably going to, it makes sense to say it's going to be here, considering that trend. Definitely couldn't be 45. Definitely would not make sense for it to be 15. And definitely wouldn't make sense for it to be 40. 30 is the best answer. All right, guys, I hope they help. That's all I have. Good luck.